The human inclination toward perpetual self-improvement is, in a way, a most fascinating and amusing paradox. We navigate our existence burdened by the conviction that we are fundamentally flawed, broken machines requiring endless maintenance. We carry an enormous, invisible toolkit, constantly tinkering with our inner mechanisms, adjusting and fixing, as if we rolled off the cosmic assembly line with defective parts. But what if this entire, sprawling industry dedicated to self-fixing is built upon a profound misconception? What if the core belief that you need to be fixed is the root of the problem itself? Consider for a moment the sheer absurdity of a wave on the ocean suddenly developing consciousness and declaring, "I'm all wrong. I'm not solid. I'm constantly rising and falling. I must fix myself and become more stable." The wave is already perfect. It is the ocean's expression of itself. Yet, in our human experience, we've accepted precisely this kind of absurdity. We've been thoroughly sold a narrative. You are incomplete, flawed, a collection of problems needing solutions, and if only you try hard enough, find the right technique, you will finally fix yourself into the person you're supposed to be. This story is so deeply embedded in our culture that we rarely question it, accepting ourselves as perpetual works in progress, rough drafts waiting for a final edit. But let me offer a perspective that might sound scandalous to the self-improvement world. You were never broken. You were never incomplete. The very idea that you need to be fixed is the only thing that actually requires fixing. Think of a magnificent tree. We don't look at it and say, "That poor thing needs to work on its leaves. If only it could fix itself, it might become a proper tree someday." Of course not. The tree is magnificent simply by being what it is. It grows, it changes, it responds to its environment, but it holds no internal committee meeting to discuss its personal development. Goals. We, however, have developed the peculiar capacity to step outside ourselves, becoming our own renovation crew, seeing not a miraculous expression of life in the mirror, but a fixer-upper. This is not to say that growth, learning, or change is wrong. A tree learns, too, how to grow toward the light and weather a storm. The difference is trust. The tree trusts its own nature. We have learned to mistrust ours, convinced that our natural impulses are suspect and that left to our own devices, we'll surely make a mess. This creates an exhausting internal supervisor, an inner critic constantly evaluating our performance and always finding us lacking. This voice, however, is not your authentic self. It's a collection of absorbed judgments, inherited standards from the past, a committee of judges running your life, making you feel perpetually inadequate. But who is the one aware of this committee? There is something in you that observes this entire drama of self-judgment without being caught up in it. That awareness is what you truly are. You are not the thoughts or the judgments. You are the vast, open space in which they appear and disappear like weather patterns. The sky is never damaged by the storm that moves through it. Now, you may rightfully point out that you make mistakes and have things you'd like to change. The secret is this: you can enact changes, learn new things, and grow in new directions without the underlying, toxic story that you are fundamentally broken. Observe a child learning to walk. They fall constantly, but they don't develop a complex about being a defective walker. They simply get up and try again, not because they're broken, but because walking looks like fun. The learning happens naturally, playfully, without the anxiety of self-judgment. There are two fundamentally different approaches to change. One is the mechanic's approach, starting from the assumption that you are a faulty engine needing repair, always looking for what is wrong. The other is the gardener's approach, starting from the recognition that you are already whole, a living system with its own wisdom about how to grow. The gardener collaborates with life itself, providing good conditions and trusting the natural intelligence of growth. Most personal development is mechanical. We treat ourselves like machines needing better programming. But when you trust your own natural intelligence, you stop fighting with yourself and start flowing. You allow your unique shape to emerge, learning the way a river learns the landscape, by moving with it, not against it. Some worry that this philosophy leads to complacency or mediocrity. The truth is the opposite. When you stop wasting energy on the constant self-criticism and improvement anxiety, you free up enormous amounts of energy for actual living. Imagine all the mental and emotional energy spent evaluating your performance, comparing yourself to others, and beating yourself up. When you know you are already whole, that energy channels into expression, creation, and discovery. You play with life instead of working on yourself. It's the difference between trying to fix yourself to play the piano and playing simply to let the music happen through you. When you approach your life as a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved, and yourself as an ongoing expression of life, not a project to be completed, something surprising happens. The things you thought needed fixing often take care of themselves naturally. It's like muddy water clearing when it's left alone. When you stop stirring up the mud of self-criticism, your natural clarity settles. Much of what we think is wrong with us is actually the result of our effort to fix what was never broken. For instance, fighting anxiety often creates more anxiety. But if you stop making the feeling of anxiety a problem that needs solving, if you stop adding the story, "I shouldn't feel this way," on top of the feeling, the anxiety often naturally dissolves. Emotions are the weather of consciousness. Sometimes it's stormy, sometimes it's calm, and that is not a malfunction. It is how emotions work. The same principle applies to traits we see as flaws. If you are a sensitive dreamer in a culture that values toughness and action, instead of trying to fix yourself, what if you recognize your nature as your unique contribution? The oak tree doesn't apologize for not being a pine. When you stop wasting energy on being something you're not, all that energy becomes available for being magnificently what you are. You still learn new skills, but the learning comes from curiosity and joy, not a sense of inadequacy. It's play, not work on yourself. Somewhere along the way, we learned to distrust this natural intelligence and created an inner bureaucracy of self-management, departments of criticism and committees of goal setting. But underneath all this, your original nature is patiently waiting, the nature that was never broken. It's what remains when you let go of all the stories about what's wrong with you, and what remains is extraordinary, natural, authentic, and spontaneously alive. There is a powerful paradox. The more you try to improve yourself, the more you reinforce the idea that you need improvement. But the moment you recognize you are never broken, improvement happens naturally, effortlessly. It's a philosophy of trust. Trust in the intelligence that beats your heart and governs the cosmos. Do you truly think it needs your anxious supervision? My invitation to you is to conduct an experiment. Just for one day, stop trying to fix yourself. Approach the day not as a problem, but as a gift. Meet your emotions without trying to change them. Move through your activities without constantly evaluating your performance. And treat yourself with the kindness, patience, and humor you'd offer a good friend. You might be astonished to discover that without the pressure of self-improvement, you naturally relax, and your authentic self begins to shine. You are quite wonderful exactly as you are, a complete expression of life in this moment. The great secret the industry doesn't want you to know is that you were never broken. You are already whole, complete, and enough. The only thing that needs fixing is the belief that you need fixing. And the beautiful irony is you can only see through that belief by letting go of the need to fix anything. You are not a problem life needs to solve. You are life expressing itself in human form, and life is a celebration. We are all just waves on the same ocean, each one unique, each one perfect, an irreplaceable part of the whole magnificent dance. When you realize this, you can finally relax into being who you are, and who you are is already so much more beautiful than who you think you should be. You are life playing at being you, and that play is not a problem to be fixed. That is the whole point.